Welcome back. I hope you're still hanging in there. I know I'm burning through these albums, but I'm just trying to get through them. Up next, Allman Brothers Band, their first debut album. Um, really good shit. If you're into prog rock and blues rock and real technical, you know, rock and roll, that's exactly what these guys were, man. They could play the hell out of their instruments. Dwayne Allman, probably the best slide player ever, and he's a white guy, so that's pretty awesome. And he was incredible. They were a great band, really together and improvisational, and live I heard they were incredible. Of course, I never got to see them, but that would have been a cool experience. Here's Eat a Peach, really crappy condition copy, really dirty looking. It's kind of got that ring around there, and just looks like there's dirt all over it, but the albums are in good shape, and that's what matters, like I said. Really, really, really awesome. Oh, centerfold there. So cool. Really psychedelic imagery. Mushrooms and mountaintops and weird people and giants walking around and all kind of stuff. And of course, this album was engineered and produced by Tom Dowd, one of my heroes. If you don't know who that is, look him up. He brought so much to music back in the day, in the 50s and 60s. Recorded Ornette Coleman and Coltrane and so many good, jazz players back in the 50s. And then produced, Cream, Eric Clapton's work, Allman Brothers. So many good things in the 60s. And, he brought a lot to engineering and producing. Here's the next Allman Brothers album I have, is Brothers and Sisters. And this is probably my favorite album of theirs. Ramblin Man, Southbound, Jessica. Such a cool song. But pretty good condition copy. Still has the shrink wrap on it, which I just ordered some more sleeves for all my records because a lot of the newer ones that I've been buying don't have sleeves, and I just kind of want to get all the same sleeves on all my albums and take any shrink wrap off that I have on any albums because I hate shrink wrap. It really fucks up the corners and stuff. But there's that. Okay, so I'm moving on to these are still old stuff that I'm about to go through, but for the stuff that I only have with me right now, all of these are single albums. They're not, as in like I only have. Sorry, I'm getting tired. I can't talk right now. But there's only one album from all these artists that I'm about to show you. All the ones beforehand had at least 2 or 3 albums. So anyway, I'll go ahead and get started with this. Just burning through them. All right, up first is Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Of course, David Bowie's concept album. I love this album. I love most of David Bowie's stuff, but this is definitely his best, if you ask me. The condition of this album's not great at all. It actually got rained on, so that's water damage right there. And other than that, it was actually in pretty good condition before, but just kind of warped this whole bottom side. But the vinyl's still fine. It's in good shape. 5 Years, one of the best opening tracks ever. And of course, Rock and Roll Suicide, one of the best closing tracks ever. And everything in between is great. So I love this album so much. And man, yeah, this gets a ton of play. I listen to this a lot. And really, I'm in a band, and the guy that I write tunes with is majorly influenced by David Bowie. Kind of sounds like him and writes songs like him, and so he's just been influential on me in a lot of ways also. So alright, up next is Back in the USA by MC5. This is their sophomore album, and actually I prefer it to Kick Out the Jams. I think it's a little more straightforward, rock and roll, a little more pop oriented. Kick Out the Jams is great, don't get me wrong, but it's just kind of chaotic, which is nothing wrong with that. But like I don't know why. I just prefer this album. Sometimes you just like things more than others. But yeah, it's a really good album, and it's a Sundays reissue also, which if you remember me talking about the other Sundays reissues I have, their name is everywhere all over the album. Actually, this one's not as bad because it's not anywhere on the front, which is cool. It just says stereo LP up there at top, and then just the name. So at least it's not all over the front, but whatever. All right. Up next is a Buddha Records reissue of Safe as Milk by Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band. I love this album so much. It's a white vinyl reissue with a red label, which always looks cool. But yeah, I love Captain Beefheart. He recently died last year, which is sad, but he brought so much to the table. Really experimental stuff, and you know, a lot of his stuff from this era was just more straight ahead blues rock and psychedelic rock stuff, but it was different at the same time. It set itself apart from the other stuff that was like this coming out at the time. So, really, really great shit. Yeah, some great songs on here. Plastic Factory, if you haven't heard that, go listen to that right now. The harmonica, I'm a sucker for harmonica, and it has the best sounding harmonica I've ever heard. So dirty and gritty, so great. But yeah, if you haven't heard this, check it out. Great stuff. I have a Trout Mask replica also, but it's packed away, of course. So, all right, up next, Maggot Brain by Funkadelic. I love these guys so much. This is such a fun album to listen to. It really just it gets you moving. But it's so funny because it starts out with the song Maggot Brain, which is this weird psychedelic, just mind fuck of a song. It really takes you on a trip, man. It's great. And then after that, it's just kind of dance funky tunes. But you know, every song on here is great. I love it. Really cool cover and back cover there. So I guess Funkadelic is a mixture between funky and psychedelic. That's where they got their name. So, great album. Definitely their best, if you ask me. Right up next is Give 'Em Enough Rope by The Clash. Definitely their most rock and roll album. I love it. It's their second. Their first album was a lot more punk, and I love punk rock. Don't get me wrong, and I love all of the Clash's punk rock albums. London Calling is incredible. So good. But yeah, this is probably my favorite though, because I like when they dwell into the more rock and roll stuff. Because, you know, I mean, they were a rock and roll band. You know, you can call them a punk band all day, but man, they were a fucking terrific rock and roll band. So yeah, that's that album. It's a pretty good condition, so that gets a lot of play. All right, up next, Transformer by Lou Reed. For those of y'all that don't know, which I'm sure I don't have to tell any of y'all that, but Lou Reed, the frontman from Velvet Underground, who went on to work on solo stuff afterwards. This and Rock and Roll Animal are great. David Bowie produced this album, and you could tell he's all over it. Oh, and Mick Ronson also produced it. It was Mick Ronson and David Bowie, and Mick Ronson was the guitar player in Spiders from Mars, if you didn't know that. But really, really great album. I love every tune on here, and of course the guy with the pocket rocket. Yeah, really good stuff. If you haven't heard this, it's worth a listen. I know a lot of people that like the Velvet Underground that never really read solo stuff, and I love Transformer. It's so good. All right, up next is American Beauty by the Grateful Dead. Great album, man. Yeah, I just listened to this today, actually. One of my favorites of theirs, for sure. Working Man's Dead is great, too, and I have that on vinyl, too. It's packed away, but this is probably their best, I'd say, if you ask me. But, of course, Anthems of the Sun is great, too. But, of course, Sugar Magnolia, classic tune. Box of Rain, a great album opener. Really beautiful, beautiful song. All right. I have to cut these in half because I'm running out of time. But, of course, Electric Warrior by T-Rex. Wow, I love this album so much. I listen to this constantly. This might have more play than anything in my collection. Actually, I don't know. It's hard to say. T-Rex, of course, was Mark Bolan and Mickey Finn, their project, and a really good album. I have the slider also, but I prefer this album to the slider. And there's Mark Bolan, of course. Rest in peace. But yeah, really great album. If you haven't heard it, it's fantastic. Every track is great. Of course, their claim to fame was Get It On, Bang a Gong, which everyone knows. But this album had some gems, man, like Cosmic Dancer, Mambo Sun, Monolith. Lean Woman Blues is great. Really, every song on here is fantastic. And then Rip Off is the album closer. So good. All right, well, I'm going to wrap that up here and continue the rest of the single band albums that I have right now. So, in the next video. So, keep watching.